Hey Grandma and Grandpa, I thought I'd take a video to say hi and let you know how my semester at Seton Hall is going so far. Overall, it's been pretty tough and I've been really busy, but I've been learning a whole lot. All my classes have been so enlightening. One class in particular, ethics, taught me a whole new concept that I never heard of before. And well, it's called ethics. Now, before you try and figure out what ethics is for yourselves, let me take you on this journey in discovering what ethics is all about. Now, you may be asking, what is ethics? Ethics, a system of moral principles. Gee, Professor, thanks for the definition. Now, this may seem self-explanatory when deciding what ethics is. A system of moral principles. But that's only at the surface. In fact, it's much more complex than it initially seems. Think about all the different systems of ethics that exist, and the different people in the world, and the different philosophies, and the laws, and the rules, and the principles, and the theories, and... Whoa. Let's slow down. Let's take it down a notch. Let's have a chat with some friends, actually, and see what they can say about what ethics is. And maybe they can help us decipher this question.
And here we have Stephanie. Stephanie, what do you think ethics is?
Ethics is using reason and judgment to make moral decisions, knowing good from evil and right from wrong. For me, the most ethical decisions involve my conscience, and the best choices are the ones that don't weigh on my conscience afterwards. Many times, the best moral choice depends on the situation, and you must weigh all the options. For example, should you jump in a lake to save someone drowning if you can't swim?
Wow, thank you for the insight, Stephanie. And here we have Teddy. Teddy, what is ethics?
Ethics is the principles that a person follows in order to determine between what is right and what is wrong.
Thank you, Teddy.
Thank you.
And here we have my good friend Roberto. Roberto, what do you think ethics is?
Well, for me, ethics, in my definition, in my studies, ethics is knowing from right from wrong, and what is ethical and what is not ethical.
Well, what do you think ethical is?
Well, I mean, for example, see this calculator right here? Let's say if I were to charge you, let's say, $250 for this calculator, but this calculator normally costs $150. You know, I'm overcharging you. And it might be legal to do that, to charge you that amount. But is it ethical? I don't think so. And that's what being ethical and unethical, my definition is.
So you're taking it from a business standpoint?
Of course, you know, that's the way I roll.
Okay, thank you, Rob.
You're welcome.
And here we have my beautiful mother. Mom, what do you think ethics is?
I think ethics is your internal compass that tells you what's good and what's not good. I think sometimes there's an ethical dilemma, like say for the end-of-life issues where, you know, if the plug should be pulled or not, and that's when you have to look to yourself to see what the right answer would be.
Thanks, Mom.
Alrighty.
Well, Grandma and Grandpa, I'm not sure if that explained it, but I hope that helped let you guys get an idea of the concept. Or maybe you're even more confused than ever. Let's try and sort this out. First of all, there are many different ethical theories, all of which attempt to explain what is morally acceptable. Each has its own distinct set of ideas and principles. There are actually about 15 or so theories which we learned about in ethics class. Now I'll explain each of those 15 theories in extreme detail in 20-minute sections each. Just kidding. I wouldn't want to bore you too with all that. Instead, I'll break each of these theories down into three main categories: the good life, doing the right thing, and the status of morality. So let's get started. The good life, hedonism, and the desire theory. It In an attempt to determine what is the good life and the ethical theories that determine what is morally right, hedonism explains that whatever makes us happy and gives us enjoyment enhances our quality of life and is morally right. Also, the desire theory declares that by pursuing self-interest, one promotes their own good and is morally correct for doing so. However, there are some problems with these theories. You know what makes me happier than anything in the whole world? Hurting other people. According to hedonism, that's morally okay. So, I guess those ethical theories have a few holes in them. Now let's take a look at doing the right thing. Next, we have the natural law theory. The natural law theory is broken into two different types of philosophies. The first being the efficacy model. The efficacy model states that what we are most efficient at is our natural purpose and is morally right. So say, for example, chemistry. Human beings are the most efficient at chemistry more than any other type of being. So by creating powerful drugs, we are morally correct. The second model under the natural law theory is the fitness model. The fitness model says that whatever action increases survival and reproduction is morally right. So, say for example rape. In this case, rape is morally right because a man, by raping a woman, is increasing his chances for reproduction. Egoism. Both psychological and ethical egoism argue that whatever maximizes self-interest and produces the greatest good for yourself is acceptable. In the end, it's all about number one, isn't it? This can't be correct, though. Come on. Sometimes it is morally right to help others, despite your self-interest. I think one can argue that Ebenezer Scrooge was not the most moral individual before he was visited by the three ghosts. Let's check out consequentialism. Consequentialism. Consequentialism states that whatever produces the greatest good is the right action, and the action that should be taken. Thus, we have a duty to do the greatest good possible in all circumstances. The problem with this theory, the greatest problem, is that nothing is intrinsically wrong or right.
My life is terrible. I'm only bringing misery to the world, and it would be better for everyone if I were to die. It's morally okay.
According to consequentialism, this is morally okay. Next, we have the Kantian perspective. Now, the Kantian perspective describes what is right in a very extensive evaluation. Overall, Kant argues that goodwill is the only good without qualification, and that justice and integrity are the moral values which we must be held accountable for. And it is one's duty that should drive action. Now, we will cover the social contract tradition, or contractarianism. This theory states that morality is the product of society, and as a result, morality can be flawed. So, morality is a set of rules which would be assigned by beings who are completely rational and wholly free. Well, that sounds great, Professor. But how do we know as people what is moral if we are flawed? I guess we'll have to keep moving on. Let's take a look at ethical pluralism. Ethical pluralism. A system of views stating that there are different facets to moral rules. Two of the main variations are absolutism, which argues breaking a moral rule is always wrong, and ethical particularism, which states that moral rules can be broken in certain situations and are permitted. Feminist ethics. Feminist ethics argues that women are the moral equals to men, and they should have equal consideration. This system of ethics uses a loving mother as the model for morality. Wow. I always thought that feminism argued that men and women should be treated equally, when it's not really that at all. It's actually just the argument that women and men are different, but women should be given equal consideration and respect. I agree with that. For solving ethical dilemmas, however, feminist ethics also has its problems. Now let's take a look onto our third category, the status of morality, and the two main theories attributed to it. The status of morality. This is broken down into two different theories. The first being ethical relativism, and the second, moral nihilism. Ethical relativism states that morality is entirely subjective. We can see this throughout our world, throughout different cultures. And each morality system is given equality. The second, moral nihilism, states that ethics is simply a creation of the human mind. And morality is something which does not actually exist. And therefore, there are no actions which are wrong and no actions which are right. Well, that whole moral nihilism thing just sounds like chaos. No such thing as morals? We need to have some morals to lead a life which is fulfilling and enjoyable for ourselves and others around us. Well, that wraps up our ethics journey for the night, and I hope you've enjoyed. I think we all learned that ethics is more complex than it initially seems, especially from all the different theories that exist. If anything, I think we can say ethics is not perfect, but by incorporating different aspects of each theory, we might be able to create a system which is composed of the most valuable moral principles. Now that you are ethics experts, you can go and tell everyone you know about this awesome concept we call ethics. I hope you enjoyed. See you, Grandma and Grandpa.